Welcome back to MSG PM, presented by 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven, take it to 11. Kaz here, Monica there. You know what time it is, Monica.
It's the time in the show where the duo becomes a trio.
That's right, and for the first time this year, I'm actually going to use his actual middle name. Steve Adam Levine Novak, it's great to have you on MSG PM tonight. How you doing, partner?
Adam Levine, that's mighty close to Adam Levine, and I'm not sure he has the best headlines, so I guess I'll accept the sexy part, but I'm not sure where you're trying to take this.
Hey, listen, I just wanted to make sure that I got your actual middle name this time, so, you know, now that we have it settled and we know that your actual middle name is Adam Levine.
According to Kaz. Sure. Hey, friend.
How are you? It's so good to be with you guys.
Same. All right, let's get into it, shall we? The season is around the corner. Obviously, the news, Novi, since the last time we talked, RJ signed his 4-year extension with the Knicks. I had a chance to talk with him a little bit. He's all in on the hard work and taking the next step with this squad.
And likely all in on $120 million,
Facts.
Which I think most of us would be. But that aside, I do think this is a great extension. I think for multiple reasons, but really, if you think about some of the history with the franchise in New York, there's so many draft picks that the Knicks have had as rookies, and then they have not given extensions after. And so this is the first player in 23 years since Charlie Ward in 1999 that the Knicks have signed to a multi-year extension after their rookie deal. And I think RJ Barrett is a guy who is very deserving of that. And obviously the timing of this with the Donovan Mitchell talks and was he going to get traded was very interesting. Was signing him going to hurt? Was it going to end up being a sign and trade? Obviously, now we know Donovan Mitchell ending up with Cleveland and RJ Barrett staying with the Knicks. So I think for a lot of reasons, at 22 years old, this is a great deal.
You know, speaking of that Donovan Mitchell news that dominated summer headlines this year, one name that was really attached to him was Quentin Grimes, whether they wanted him, whether he was going to be a part of his trade or not. But now that he's here, in his second year, can you see him taking that second-year leap that will justify him being a big part of the Knicks' future?
John Wallace said he should be a starter, Novi. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, I think he's probably onto something. And I think, you know, the closer you get to the Knicks and the more you watch them and the more you understand, I think, who they are as far as a Coach Thibodeau team, there's no question of Quentin Grimes. He fits. He's going to have a bigger role. Now, with Jalen Brunson at the point guard spot, there's been Evan Fournier at that spot, at the 2 spot. You're going to need more defense around Jalen Brunson. I think that is one of the concerns about him. And so Quentin Grimes, he should have a bigger role. He's shown he's a player. He's shown he can really get in there and mix it up. And like you guys just said, the fact that Quentin Grimes might have been one of the big reasons that trade didn't go through with Donovan Mitchell in Utah, and the fact that they wanted so many picks, I think the Knicks know who they have with this guy and probably have expectations for him coming into this year.
All right, Novi, let's jump across the bridge real quick. Ben Simmons broke his silence recently, appearing on the Old Man into 3 podcast with JJ Redick today. And there was a lot of newsworthy bits. One of the most newsworthy bits was the moment that he was kicked out of practice. He told Doc Rivers that he was mentally not ready to go and still went to practice. And to use language that I'm not going to use here, felt like he was messing with them at that point. What are your thoughts on this, on these developments with Ben Simmons?
You know, it really is, I think, such an ongoing issue in the league because the truth is, you know, even myself when I played in the league, being mentally tough and fighting through things and never making excuses, there wasn't as much room for this I'm having mental issues or I'm not ready to go. And so I think there's obviously more and more understanding that's happening around the cerebral side of the game, the sports psychology, the mental health. And I think a lot of the teams have certainly taken notice and are doing so much more, as well as the entire league in the NBA. But I think JJ Redick getting Ben Simmons to, as JJ does with all these guys that he has on, gets them to spill and really give candid details. I think it's just valuable for him to share those thoughts, some of those stories, even if they do shed bad light on some of the franchises, so that there can be some really positive changes made. And hopefully Ben Simmons can get back to himself.
Just sidebar on the note of mental health, there's a really great piece in the Players Tribune today from John Wall, who dealt with some real mental health things, Novi. So to your point, we are in a new territory in terms of acknowledging it, but if we're going to acknowledge it, it has to be a period at the end of that sentence, and you gotta believe people when they say they're not quite right. But speaking of the Nets, you got the Ben Simmons piece, you got the KD, the Kyrie piece, you got the Nash piece. There's a lot going on there. What do you expect from that squad this upcoming season?
there was so many distractions and so much drama with this squad, and obviously that's the kind of season that they had with Kyrie not being able to play, and obviously KD this offseason now asking to be traded, and now he's back. And so I think that there is going to be a renewed focus with this team. They're just too good, and I think these are all guys that are competitors, that have shown throughout their career that they want to win. And there's so many good people within that team and that organization that they're going to refocus. They've added some size. When you've got a Markieff Morris, you've got a TJ Warren, those additions I think are going to bolster that lineup. And so I think that they're going to come out and have as much drama and as many distractions as last year is very unlikely. And I think they're going to try to capture, what they have.
You mean it could be about basketball?
Oh, that would be lovely.
What a
if we could
concept.
just talk basketball when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets. Speaking of basketball, let's talk about your hometown Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo recently revealed, and not much of a revelation because I have known this for a while. Antetokounmpo, his last name means crown. Now, did you know this? Because I did.
That is what we call a cultural flex, Kaz.
It is. That is my middle name. For folks who may not know, it's not Greekified or whatever. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this revelation on the Giannis's last name's meaning.
Well, he had a couple years back in 2019, he had knocked down, I think it was his fifth three of the game. He hasn't had many threes where he's made, or many games where he's made 5 threes, but he did, and it was against LeBron. And he gave he showed that he was wearing the crown, and everybody said, "Oh my gosh, he's trying to mock King James, and he's wearing the crown and acting like he's the king now." And Giannis came out and said, "Hold on now, Antetokounmpo means crown," and I certainly can relate to that because as a guy whose name is Novak, which is translated to belt, championship belt, I too wore the belt and he wore the crown, and so. We don't need to be talked to this way just because our last names mean things that people don't understand.
Novak translates to belt. Okay, I learned 2 new things today.
There you go.
All right, what do we got when it comes to the Clippers, Novi? Because Kawhi has clearly been in the gym, looking a little Saquon Barkley-esque. And when it comes to the quad muscles, how dangerous can this Clipper squad be if they are healthy?
They're going to be intriguing. And even my 12-year-old son, he's always like, "Dad, can Kawhi Leonard, can he play anymore? Is he going to help anybody win a championship?" And I said, "That's a really good question. But you're right, look at those quads. Those are some pretty strong." He's been doing something while he's not been playing, which I guess is a good sign. But he does have some interesting pieces around him. It's the Reggie Jacksons, and you had mentioned John Wall as well, obviously Paul George. And I just think there's been such a hiatus of Kawhi. We just haven't seen him. We all know what he can do. He was so good in San Antonio. Obviously won a championship in Toronto. Can he be back to himself? I mean, I would sure think he's where he wants to be. He's with the players that he wanted to be with, and it's an exciting time to be a Clipper. So I think there's no question that he's going to help this franchise make a push.
Novi, are you ready to feel old? Yes, you are. Marquette is celebrating the 20th anniversary of the 03 Final Four team with yourself, Dwayne Wade. I want to say Travis Diener also.
Oh, wow.
All those names back in the day. How you feeling, man? Are you feeling Marquette? Oh, we got the
Look
Blazer?
at this.
We got the Blazer? Okay.
What is this?
I just thought you might ask that question, so I wanted to be sure that I was dressed appropriately for the show.
Yes,
this
sir.
is my Marquette Blazer, and on the inside, it's got all the inside lining of all the photos from the Final Four with my name. Dwayne Wade, actually, as you mentioned, he threw kind of a kickoff the 20th year anniversary for the Final Four team. We did a little golf outing. Dwayne made us some nice sport coat blazers, as you see here, as I'm showing you all.
Wow.
Very nice. And it was really a special event. So we're looking forward to getting a team together a few more times this season as well, just to look back at the Final Four and the special group we had. You're right about Travis Diener, D. Wade, obviously, and really special group. So we're looking forward to reuniting and doing it a few more times, maybe all the way into the 21st year, because you know how us old guys like to be. We like to remember things for a very long time.
Hey, man, the legend only grows afterward.
Right.
Like, it continues to grow. It's a beautiful thing. All right, speaking of legends, we got Brady versus Rodgers on Sunday night. We know where your heart lies, but what do you see is going to be the key to this game?
Yes, as you know, I'm a bit loyal to my guy Rodgers, who also wore the championship belt. It looked good on him, almost as good as it does on me. But this is, I think this is as fun a matchup as you could possibly have in the NFL. Rodgers, who's been MVP so many times, and Brady, who's the GOAT. And I think, this really could be the last time these two match up. And so obviously with Tampa Bay coming in 2-0 and Green Bay kind of getting their footing against Chicago, which most teams do, but especially Green Bay does against Chicago, I think they're feeling a little better, even though we're certainly missing Devontae Adams just a little bit. But in Tampa Bay, I think it'll always be a little bit tougher. But Tampa Bay's had our number in Green Bay no matter when we've played, including that last NFC Championship game. So I'm leaning towards Rodgers. I'm not sure why, but I'm sure it's going to be a fun matchup.
We're not sure why.
I think so. I think you have a slight idea. Speaking of nostalgia, we're talking Brady Rodgers. We're talking about 20-year anniversaries of Marquette. We were flipping through the archives today, and we saw this amazing Knicks tape era photo. Producers, throw it on the screen. What do you think when you see a photo like this, Steve?
This is the pinnacle of happiness. It's like you dream of playing basketball, you end up with the New York Knicks, and these are the guys that end up being your teammates. Honestly, I think it's just the 54 wins we had that season. I think about how the guys on that squad played their roles. It was like every guy kind of knew who they were. It's what made us successful and special. And my guy, J.R. Smith, it's unbelievable just to kind of see honestly, looking at that picture and seeing what some of those guys have done. J.R. off back in college and became a golfer. Can't say I expected that. J. Kidd coaching with Dallas and, kind of mentoring Luka now. So some special guys on that picture and some great memories.
Love that. Absolutely love it. That Knicks tape era is close to my heart. Stevie, great seeing you. We're going to see you all this year.